Let's talk about The Northman. I recently watched The Northman, and I have some mixed feelings about it that I wanted to talk about. I'm a huge fan of the director Robert Eggers and his previous work on The Witch and The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse is in my favorite all-time films list, so when I heard he was going to be writing and directing a film about Vikings, I knew it would be something worth waiting for. Initially, this was one I really wanted to see in theaters, but I just never got around to it and ended up streaming it on Peacock. Robert Eggers' attention to detail in his previous films is not something that's super common anymore. His style of filmmaking happens to be some of my favorite. He's such an interesting person, and I really appreciate the care that he puts into his films to be sure that they are historically authentic. It really helps set the scene and tone to ensure the viewer has the most enjoyable experience possible. His previous work was done through A24 and had relatively lower budgets compared to most Hollywood films, so the box office numbers far surpassed the budget for films, making them remarkably successful, and I think that's what fueled this big budget film. The Northman was Robert Eggers' first blockbuster type film and had a sizable budget of $90 million. When watching this film, you can definitely tell that the budget was a lot higher than his previous films. However, with his main audience being indie fans and film students, not enough people ran to the theater to see this one, so it ended up flopping, only grossing $67 million worldwide. It's very unfortunate because I really did enjoy this one, and it's hard to say something flopped with 67 million views worldwide. I'm unsure on any detail regarding the production cuts that were made to the film, but I can only assume that since he decided to work with a bigger studio on this one, he more than likely didn't have as much creative control as his past work, which is also unfortunate. While it's not my favorite Robert Eggers film, it's not bad by any means, and I still think it sits above most other Viking-type films I've seen. Almost all of the times I watch a film that exceeds 2 hours, I can comfortably say that I think something should have been cut to lean down the screenplay and make it feel tighter. But that was not the case with The Northman. With a 2-hour, 17-minute runtime, I could have easily watched another hour of this one, so I'm hoping he'll end up releasing the director's cut at some point. I didn't really have any major qualms with this one, other than the fact that some of the characters and subplots were left undiscovered, and in a way that made parts of the film feel incomplete. The pacing was a bit quick in some areas, specifically the beginning and the end. I was hoping to see more of the main character as a child with his family to help get a grasp on what life was like for him prior to his father being killed, but that could lend itself to one of the twists at the end that we aren't supposed to see coming. Regardless, the viewer is made to believe that the young boy's goal is to avenge his father's death and save his mother, so we assume that that's his motivation throughout the film. However, there is a sizable gap in his life going from being that innocent child escaping the island to growing up and becoming a member of a group that ravages villages without any talk of his father's death or revenge or anything. We don't see any plot device to get him from point A to B. It's just up to the viewer to assume he decided not to go that route of avenging his father, which feels wrong because there was such a substantial amount of time spent convincing the child that that's what he needed to do in the beginning, along with the fact that we never see a shift in motivation that would lead us to believe otherwise. There isn't really a known motivation as to why he joined the group in the beginning and hides his real identity as a prince, but it almost took nothing to make him remember or convince him that he needed to avenge his father's death and save his mother. So that part felt a bit clunky to me when we were watching it. My issues with the subplots and supporting characters feeling incomplete lead me to believe that this film could have easily been 3+ hours to fully explore all the ideas and concepts that were jammed into that 2-hour runtime. Specifically, Anya Taylor-Joy's character, it seemed like there was a lot there with her that could have been added on, maybe another 30 minutes to dive deeper into her character, and maybe that would have helped make it feel a little bit more complete. The filming location and cinematography were beautiful and well done, and it really did feel immersive while watching. Although I've not done any research on Vikings myself, I can say it did seem to portray them and the time period well. As someone who's just a casual viewer, there wasn't anything that pulled me out of it at all. The acting was immaculate. That is to be expected with any Robert Eggers film. I'm a huge fan of everyone that was cast, so it was pretty special to be able to see them all together. The only real technical downfall I noticed was that some of the war and fight scenes seemed pretty careful and prepared in parts. The main character, Prince Amleth, is able to fully and slowly walk into battle and take people out one by one, which seemed a bit odd as everyone around him was getting killed pretty quickly. So you think he would have also been killed if he'd just so casually walked into battle. Anyway, I really did enjoy this film, and compared to his two others, this one was a lot more straightforward and easy to follow, which may have been why this was the film he decided to work with a bigger company on, as it may appeal to the general public a bit more. I know this one got a lot of mixed reviews from his fans, but I feel that a lot of the hate is undeserved. Even though it may not be a 10 out of 10 Robert Eggers film, it is still so much higher than other films that are just generically pushed out every month. I really enjoyed this one, and I think it appeals to a much wider audience than his previous films, and would recommend watching it if you want to see a good, sad, bloody quality Viking film. I rated this one a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which fell mostly in line with the general consensus being a 3.9 out of 5. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, follow me on social media, leave a comment with your opinion of the movie, and you can follow me on Letterboxd. Thank you for watching.